Hi everybody, it's a bug here. Hope all going well today. And today we're gonna do something a little unique. We're gonna be talking about the Dawn Triumph with Alatreon. And I'm not alone today. Today we got a special guest. Well, I would say special guest. You guys know him. He's an in real life friend of mine and also a buddy of this channel. Say hello, Salos.
What's good, everyone? It's your boy Salos back again, and let me tell you something. I have not fully recovered from the Alatreon experience, so being here is bringing up some PTSD, but doing it for a good buddy. So I'm here to relive the trauma. It's my therapy session.
It's also mine too. It's also mine too. So yeah, the reason why this is gonna be a discussion video is because I originally had the Don Triumph video, but it just got deleted. Somehow I didn't delete it. It just got lost. Had backups, gone too. So in turn, just had to be creative and utilize this as a discussion video about Latreon itself, the OG special investigation hunt.
I guess you could say this was Alatreon's last little middle fingers. Like, y'all may have slayed me, you finally beat me, congratulations, but here's my farewell present. Say goodbye to your proof that you slayed me.
And then after John Judgement. So yeah.
Extra John Judgement. Yeah. We got a lot to say about that move.
Yeah. So yeah. Fortunately, my original video for the Alatreon video saved, but the Dodge Triumph version just gone. So, oh well. Gotta make, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So yeah. So that's
But
pretty
just
much
in case those who don't really know what Dodge Triumph is, you want to give like a little bit of exposition on like what exactly is a Dodge Triumph and what's so special about it?
Yes, I can give a bit of a tip for tap for that. Yes, Dawn Triumph is pretty much where you fight Alatreon, but it's a given through A Train. You know, the guy who's been hanging around with you through World. Yeah, it's a weaker version of the Alatreon special investigation that you originally fight. So it's supposed to be weaker and easier to slay him without too much difficulty, even with a party of 3 to 4 people. So that's how it's supposed to go, and you don't have to worry about his DPS check too much with that one.
I feel like what they failed to realize is that by making this quest, and also if I could, so you could probably fact check me on this later, but I remember DP saying that that Alatreon's HP is lower than a master rank Great Jagras, so he, he can you can pretty much kick him, but it doesn't take away the fact that Alatreon is still a pretty hard in-game monster, and he has a moveset a lot more vast than a Great Jagras. So yes, he might have a very small HP pool, but if you didn't learn the patterns, you didn't learn about the DPS check, about breaking the horns, and just learn how to properly do the hunt, you're still gonna drop like flies, and that's what we experienced quite a lot of.
Yeah, it made grinding for his armor. We didn't have much left to do in terms of grinding for the armor, but it made things a lot more tedious than it needed to be. So unfortunately, we had to scrape what we could get most of the time and just go from there. Originally,
Well, what I personally did is I didn't, if I saw a Dawn's Triumph, I either did one or two things. I either brought my correct element because everyone loves their light break weapons. I get Raging Brachiodeus is a pretty cracked armor set, but good God, people, put away the light break weapons in this hunt. This is not a request. This is a demand. If I find any of you using light break weapons, I will find you. I will come to your house, and I'll make you step on a very uncomfortable Lego.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much. Anyway, what I did is that I either went into the hunt and I just carried the team, or I just went into the event quest, because after you beat the special investigation, then there are two quests that rotate out. I think it's called Dawn of the Death Star and Twilight something like that. But it's two quests that rotate out where people who have actually beaten the hunt go in. So unironically, doing Alatreon at full power was a lot easier than doing the people who did Dawn's Triumph. So that's just what I opted to do. I just did the event quest.
I have to do the events quest too a few times. I tried a couple of times with the John trying it with other people, but they can't drop in like flies. Like no, seriously, they can't drop in like literal flies. Yeah, so I just have to just switch over.
But I also think that I can't even blame the players though, because obviously if you made it to Alatreon at this point, then you're not a terrible hunter. Unless you just got carried all the way to Alatreon, which I think I have seen a couple of videos like, can I get carried to the end of the game? Those people do exist. But generally speaking, most people played the game up until Alatreon. So you're a pretty competent hunter if you've made it to Alatreon. But what I think that the mistake they made is that there's no gradual buildup and like a gradual power scaling to prepare you for a hunt like this. I will say that Alatreon does do a pretty good job of preparing you for a Fatalis, but I'll save that for another day. But in terms of getting prepared for Alatreon, I feel like some people would argue that Fierce Rajang was supposed to be that monster to get you used to a powerful enemy, but I beat Rajang on my first try. I beat base Rajang on my first try and Fierce Rajang on my first try. I'm not talking about the video you guys probably saw. No, Muir number 1 is a different beast entirely. That's not what I'm referring to. But yeah, I didn't really struggle with Fierce Rajang all that much. So when it came time to fight Alatreon, it was just a massive difficulty spike that I feel like a lot of people were not prepared for.
Yes, and I do agree with that, Salo, because yeah, similar, not that quite similar with me with a Kinder Fear. Well, with a Kinder Rajang and Fear Rajang. Regular Rajang beat him in one go back in my original playthrough of the Gauntlet of Fatalis. Fear Rajang, yeah, I know his moves inside and out thanks to a little bit of playing through Sunbreak, but at the same time, we're not in Sunbreak, and that became a lot more difficult, and it took me a lot longer. But that's the thing; those are monsters that, yes, they are powerful, but you can beat them given the effort. With Alatreon, he just skyrockets the whole situation, and it becomes
and I feel like, oh, go on.
Yeah, and it becomes like oh my goodness, we are boned in the worst way possible. Because no other monster had that type of mechanic where you gotta deal with him in world at all. World Iceborne or whatever at all to get to that point. So you pretty much sit there, oh god, we're in trouble.
But yeah, I know you have a lot to say about that DPS check, so
Yeah, I got a lot to say about that bullcrap mechanic right there. Try utilizing that with a greatsword, by the way. That was just holy crap, no. So I tried originally with greatsword, and that was the biggest fail of my life for that moment. And I just couldn't reach him, and I had to stay in block all the time, and that was just useless. However, I went with my main weapon, the insect glaive, the helicopter spitty stick. But in the end, yeah, we still beat him. But Alatreon did teach me to be more efficient with my weapon. I was already okay with it, not a master at it, but he pushed me further to make sure I actually knew how to utilize my weapon. So yeah, that was quite the experience right there. And don't even get me started about the elemental damage. Yeah, element damage in World Iceborne sucks. Like, it really sucks. To the point that, like, most people use...
That's not a World Iceborne thing. That's just a Monster Hunter thing. It wasn't until Rise, like, literally every game until Rise of Sunbreak. If you were not a bow, or you were not a dual blade, you pretty much struggled for elemental damage.
Yeah, it pretty much made it where, yes, you can do some damage with it, but you're not doing, well, enough damage to say, oh god, the monster's like, oh, I'm really feeling those damages, yo. So, yeah.
Who says, yo, 2024?
Okay, bruh. Fair enough on that one. But, unfortunately, yeah, World Iceborne just made elemental damage well, and even with the past games, just made it really difficult to get the efficient damage off of that. So it was pretty much useless. And Alatreon, you have to have elemental damage, or else you're dead. Literally dead.
Yeah, luckily the two weapons that I used, dual blades and charge blade, luckily, both of those weapons have pretty good elemental values. And yeah, because you said you couldn't do it with greatsword. My main weapon is dual blades. So you might be saying, "Oh, you got a dual blades player, so you can focus on the elemental damage." Well, that would have been true if we had a heavy user, and I was kind of hoping that my boy would pull through right here, but he said he couldn't do it.
I tried.
So I had to be the heavy user because there were three of us, and the third player was a dual blades user, and his name is DP, and that is one letter off from DPS. I'll put it like this: there was one hunt when we were doing. I forgot what we were hunting, but it was back when we were in the main game of Iceborne, and I told him I can't believe I'm about to say this, DP, but I don't think you're doing enough damage because we can't beat the monster in 50 minutes. And he took that as a personal insult. I'll just put it like this: I have never had to worry about his DPS ever since then. Yeah, I told him that he wasn't doing enough damage. He said challenge accepted. So yeah, he was just balls to the walls doing elemental damage. So as long as I was doing something, and like I said, Charge Blade we literally have Charge Blade. I'm not going to go into the nuances of Charge Blade, but there are basically two types of Charge Blades: Impact Files and Element Files. So we literally have weapons that are focused on doing elemental damage. So I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and suck it up. I'll use the Charge Blade, and because I feel like 3 light weapon users is a recipe for disaster, because we had to put out the SOS flare for that 4th hunter. We had no control over what we were gonna get. So
Chocolates. Yep. So
literally. So I was like, I can control that. I use Charge Blaze, so I'll use that. And also Dual Blaze have terrible range, so we weren't always going to be able to consistently hit the horns. So that's why I had to go Charge Blade to give myself a little bit of extra reach with the Savage Axe style. And it actually did help me out because my entire journey is documented on my YouTube channel for learning Charge Blade, because every game I try to learn a new weapon. And this game, I learned Charge Blade. You can see the first episode, I barely knew how to charge my shield, let alone charge my sword. So it was a struggle, but I pretty much just stick to like a SAED spam, or as the community calls it, Pizza Cutter of Doom. So yeah, that wasn't going to work against a monster like Alatreon, because he does not give you enough time to get off the SAED. So I had to use the Savage Axe playstyle, and I had not used that at all up until the Alatreon hunt. But it gives you the most reach. It does the most damage. It is literally the most powerful. What is the most powerful move in your entire arsenal? So I just kind of had to learn it, and that paid off tremendously because it helped out a lot against the Fatalis hunt. And it definitely is the reason why we were able to beat Alatreon and I was able to do enough part break damage to the horn, so that when he shifted to Dragon, all a bug and DP had to do is just basically just hit the horn once and it broke.
Yeah. Yeah, about that. For like the longest time, I wasn't the most aggressive fighter in the group. Well, let me put that. There's let me just back up a little bit, and then once I get the opening, punch it. But I always stayed at a distance because me being aggressive has never been my strongest suit. Yeah, when I say he taught me how to be more, really how to utilize my weapon, I couldn't go for the horse to get the red essence, because the red essence is used to, attack power, and they do the helicopter spin, and the white essence is used for speed, and the defense, and the orange is used for defense. So I couldn't really rely on getting the red essence to, help. So I had to just learn how to fight without it, which really paid off against Fatalis himself. And so I wasn't giving a lot of DPS, which really made it worse for the Judgement attack. And I was causing both my buddies, who are pretty great with DPS, and I was causing them more stress and strain. And I apologize for that.
Yeah, I accept the apology, but yeah, I'm the type of person that I'm just not the type of person to say do better, and then I'm just gonna sit there and chill. No, if you're there, bust your balls off, I'm gonna be right there, bust my balls off with you. So even though I felt like I was doing good elemental damage and being DPS checks, and I did run the hunt a couple times solo, So I did know that I can individually meet the DPS check, but I'm like, you know what? He's working hard too. I'm gonna work at it too. It got to the point where I could do the hunt frame perfect. So
Like no joke, no joke. So, but yeah, to continue on with that, I'm getting pissed off at myself for this because they're putting in the effort to making sure that one, they get the most damage off, and two, overloading him. And me, I'm barely contributing to that. I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna need more power for this. Got the last time I put the Softy armor fully on, it scared the crap out of me because watching that HP go down scared the crap out of me. So
yeah, it's also why I didn't like Dereliction and Rise with
yeah.
guys with Gorn's armor.
Yeah, it drains you, and if you're not careful, one touch you dead. So pretty much, I was like, okay. So I put the full Softy armor on, been practicing it against a few hunts against Alatreon, and then I also made sure to practice to fight without my red essence a lot more. So I was actually able to fight Alatreon and actually break a horn once in a while during those practicing. But like I said, Insect Glade can't do all that much by itself without some support. So yeah, but I was still able to contribute a lot more, so which really helped out further down the line in both the Alatreon fight when we did beat him and with Fatalis, respectively. So yeah, he's like, get ready to learn how to be more aggressive, boy.
Yeah, and my observation with your Insect Glade specifically is that even in Rise, because for the longest time you didn't have a main weapon. It was actually when you played World when you found out that Insect Glade was your calling card.
Yeah,
so you then went back to Rise, picked up Insect Glade in Rise, and you kind of used the switch skills in Rise to kind of compensate for not having Red Essence and to give more power, but you don't really have those skills in here. So that was an extra layer of kicking you while you're already down.
Pretty much, yeah, because like at least like with the switch skills, like I call it the baseball bat swing, you can use that to get in. Yeah, you will lose your other essences, but at least you have options to defend yourself, so do some damage without utilizing the red essence. And you can even still fling yourself around and thrust your Insect Glaive to hit the monster, because what you have to do when you don't have your red essence, you have to fling yourself at the monster, hit a body part that has a hitbox, so you can keep up the air combat. Granted, you don't have as much control as you do when you have the red essence and everything else combined to, do a helicopter, but it's still effective enough. And pretty much in World Iceborne, Alatreon made sure, you're going to have to make sure you learn that maneuver, or else you're not going to do anything for anybody. So that was the main point.
Also, can I just say that it's complete BS that, hey, I'm a monster that you have to do DPS check against. But guess what? I inflict Dragon Blight, a status element that specifically takes away your ability to do elemental damage. Isn't that good game design?
That is not good game design, my guy, because one, you're already, seriously, you're on a 6-minute timer for the first bit of the hunt. You got 50 minutes, but you literally got 6 minutes. Once that 6 minutes up, if you don't meet that DPS check, everybody did it one blow. If you don't have feline insurance or any type of extra insurance to have extra lives, so you don't lose completely.
But yeah, the DPS check is only one aspect of it. There's also...
Alright, let's deal with Alatreon's most biggest annoying situation.
Pikachu, aim for the horn!
Yes, that and his DPS mechanic. Because the DPS and his horns are two very separate situations to deal with. Because originally, we thought, oh, hey, you break the horn, you get the DPS. No. The horn prevents Alatreon from shifting from fire to ice and ice to fire for a certain amount of time. His DPS, where you gotta stop him, is all over his body with attacks with elemental damage. So yeah, we thought they were one and the same, but no, they're two separate things, and it became a mess.
Yeah, because we also didn't know that the game kind of holds your hand through the hunt. Well, just for the special investigation. Because in the special investigation, he always starts in fire active. So okay, he starts on fire, we'll bring an ice weapon.
Yeah.
So what we didn't know is the handler will explicitly tell you when you met the DPS check. She'll say, you're doing a good job containing Alatreon's power. So we never saw that prompt. But in our minds, we were thinking that's okay because we broke the horn. So we broke the horn, and so we met the DPS check. No, that's not how that works. So yeah, Alatreon pretty much goes in a cycle. The cycle is that he starts in fire, switches to Dragon Element. Dragon Element is when you can break the horns. He nukes, and then he goes to the opposite element. To break that cycle, you break the horn. If you break the horn, he'll start in fire, go to Dragon Active, nuke. He can no longer shift to ice, and he'll go right back to fire. That's all breaking the horn does. It does not mean you met the DPS check. It just gives you more time to meet the DPS check. Let alone if you don't meet the DPS check, then the nuke is going to kill you regardless. So it doesn't even really do that. So when I had to beat the bearer of bad news and tell a bug and DP that breaking the horn does not help you meet the DPS check, yeah, that was a sad day.
Very sad day, because literally, no joke, I had a vision of like all the flashbacks of all the fights that we did with Alatreon at that point, and I'm like, oh my god, we never met it.
And I had to literally, let me break it down for you, because I tried to explain this so many different ways. I was like, there's an elemental topple that happens when you meet the DPS check. Well, we toppled him a couple of times.
Yeah.
No. He will topple on his own. Now that you KO the monster, now when you flinch him out the air, when you meet the DPS check, the handler will say, you did a good job containing Alatreon's power, and then he will topple on his own. That's why it's called an elemental topple.
And we sat there in soul-crushing defeat. Me and DP were just defeated.
Good job containing Alatreon's power.
With that reaction.
Yeah.
And it makes it even worse for the fact that, due to his Black Dragon status, he's really resilient to, blast bombs, which was, knock most monsters if they're flying in the air to the ground, stun, and you can just beat the monster up or break apart. That would be a good thing to do against Alatreon, but due to his status, he does have flinching moments, but they are so far in between. He has super armor, and what super armor does, I can keep going and I will not flinch, even if you damage me or flash bomb me. So it makes it even hard to, get him to fall down and, attack him to get some DPS and or break the horns if you're fortunate enough.
I feel like another thing that was really standing in our way is that Alatreon just has very terrible hitboxes, just all the way through.
Yep. But it's pretty bad, even from what we've been hearing. Certain weapons they do elemental damage, but it's so small. You would think go for the horn, go for the head. That will work for some cases. No, it doesn't do much damage. And even me with the insect glaive, when I do get the red essence to, do a helicopter spin to attack him, I do okay elemental damage, but not enough to get the complete topple.
Well, we've been going for a minute now, so I feel like we kind of hit all the high points on them. But I'll end with this because I feel like this does need to be said, that it is a different era nowadays with gaming. That back in the day, you could make a monster like Alatreon and very easily get away with it, because back then in the early 2000s, the gaming market wasn't as saturated as it is nowadays. Nowadays, you have probably about, probably about an hour for the average player. An hour in, they'll know if they want to play your game or not. But when you put a monster like Alatreon in a game, then that could kind of very easily dissuade a player from going in. So when a developer understands that and puts a hard boss like that in the game anyway, I think that just speaks to the integrity of the developer. And it also just makes sure that a certain genre of games, which we refer to as super bosses, are not just lost to time. And I think that we both have our run-in with super bosses and how much they have shaped up as gamers.
Yeah, like for example, with me, I have been playing around with the Devil May Cry series, and the main series that I've actually had to play with the most is DMC 3, which I have the most experience with that game specifically because the final boss in that game is pretty much Virgil, who's Dante's older brother, and he has literally similar yet slightly different powers as his brother Dante. So when you have to fight him in hard mode, for example, he's more aggressive and can literally lay down a beatdown. And he has a mechanic called Double Trigger, which is quite well, not exactly similar to Alatreon's, DPS mechanic, but he does have a DPS mechanic where you have to make sure you knock him out of his Double Trigger transformation, because if you don't, he'll heal back up and he still has the power to crush you. So yeah, have fun with that. So it makes things a lot more challenging.
Is that just like a hard mode specific thing, or how's he in normal mode?
In normal mode specifically, he gives you a little bit more openings to his attacks, so sometimes he just won't attack as often as you would think. So he'll leave himself more wide open so you can get a couple of more hits in to stop him do damage. But however, in hard mode, he pretty much just said, okay, you're gonna get messed up, because if you just go in there without being careful, or at least a little bit smart, you're gonna get stomped every time, because the AI is smart enough to say, oh, you're just rushing in, and then they'll shut you down.
I guess in a sense you could kind of equate that to, because I asked that question because I was wondering to unlock him, but it sounds like that's just the final boss.
That's just the final boss specifically.
So yeah, it sounds kind of like how you would run into Alatreon. You don't do anything special to find Alatreon. You just naturally, it makes sense in DMC because that is the literal final boss. And my stance on final bosses is that I feel like the final boss should test your knowledge on the game and your mastery of the mechanics. So I'm okay with if a final boss is pretty difficult. What I have more of an issue with is because our final boss was Shari Ishvaldo, and well, I'm not sure how that went. I haven't heard people talk. I've heard people say that he was a spectacle. In my opinion, Guys McGorn did it better, but whatever. Yeah. But Alatreon's not a final boss. He's just kind of out there.
Yeah, he's a secret boss in his own right.
And it has a very similar structure to Monster Hunter, where the final boss is, I want to say, whatever it is, whether it's Proto Man or I can't think of any final boss off the top of my head. Like Gregor, Balzar. The story comes to a close, the credits roll, Mega Man saves the day, the end. After the credits roll, then there's always what's called the Undernet, which is kind of like the equivalent of the dark web, and you can't get all the battle chips by yourself. So when you get all the battle chips, then you need all the mega chips. And to get all the mega chips, you need to get S ranks on all the boss fights in the game. After you get S ranks on all the boss fights, then you get the giga chips. Alatreon, you have to be what? Master rank 23? Oh, you're master rank 23? Haha, have fun, kid. Yeah, you're off to the races. Yeah, there's no prep. It's either you're prepped or you're not. Ready or not, here he comes. So that's the main difference for me I see with those two.
I get it. So what are your exact top 3 hardest bosses that you ever faced?
I'm not sure about king-wise, but I'd probably say top 3 would probably be, actually, it's kind of, I'll probably put a pin in Alatreon Fatalis because of everything we've listed in this video. It's kind of hard for me to rank Alatreon objectively because there were so many external factors, whether it's teamwork or I can't rank Alatreon as a boss. It's too tied with our multiplayer experience, so he's kind of exempt for now, but maybe I'll go back and find him by myself and see how I feel about him. But I'll say Lingering Will in Kingdom Hearts, that's left some lasting trauma. Base from Battle Network 3, and I to say Fatalis, but again, it's so linked. These two are so linked to multiplayer. It's kind of hard to rank it. So I will say Fatalis because as of now, I still can't beat Fatalis solo. So I'll say Fatalis, but that's subject to change.
In my case, it would have to be Kingdom Hearts 2 Vanilla Sephiroth, because in Final Mix, you have the ability to have an extra form, while in the Vanilla original game of the series, you had no final form or no other form to utilize, so you had to use all your base knowledge to take on Sephiroth and beat him. And that was quite a traumatized experience for me. And I have to say, at minimum, like, another boss that really kind of got me spooked was the boss from After Striker Gunvolt series, the first final boss from that series, because it's a secret boss, and he will beat the living tar out of you. And you have to go out of your way to unlock him to get the true ending. So that's
you know that reminds me of.
Oh, what does it remind you of, sir?
Well, you keep saying the Azure Gunvolt series, but I'm gonna go back to the source because there's no secret that Azure Gunvolt is based off the Mega Man series, specifically like the X series.
Actually, it's actually based off of Zero.
Yeah. Well, Zero is also based. I mean, yeah, the Zero series, X, those are like very intertwined from one another. But
yes.
I've seen the gameplay. There is some X DNA in there too. But yeah, it is more based off the Zero series. But on the Zero series, the sequel series, the ZX series, you remember that animation you saw a long time ago when you fight when you fight the original Zero and
Omega Zero?
Yeah, that is the Zero from the X games, because little lore dump, the Zero in the GBA, because I'm pretty sure if you guys know anything about Zero, you probably have seen him with two different designs. Yeah, that's because the original Zero in the X games, he technically quote unquote died, but they took the consciousness of that Zero and put it into a new model, and the new model was his design from the GBA games. But Dr. Weil, which is debate that's Dr. Wily or not, there's no definitive answer. He took the original Zero's body and basically made him what Zero was always meant to be, a weapon of mass destruction. So in the actual Zero games, it's like Zero basically destroying his old body to solidify his legacy as a hero and defying his origins of Dr. Wily's creator. But in practice, that's probably one of the most pathetic bosses you will ever face. Like, all you gotta do is just spam the Z-Buster and he just can't get in.
Yeah, and I remember Sailor, he told me about that specifically, and I was like, this is like years later when you actually told me, after I like watched that thing by chance.
Yeah, you watched the animation because it was like a super intense fight, Zero fighting for his life, barely hanging on. I'm like, no, in the games, he's very pathetic.
Yeah, I thought that was an actual like fight scene / cutscene thing. But yeah, when you told me that some really great sprite animator made that, my world got shattered again.
But I bring this up because I guess Capcom felt bad about that. So in the ZX games, which I still have not played, so be easy. I mean, in the comment section, I want to go into that as blind as possible. But I have known that because of the outcry on how pathetic that boss fight was, he came back in the ZX games. And in the ZX games, yeah, that's the Omega Zero that you saw in the sprite animation. And I've seen people attempt that boss. Actually, you know Radiant Reploid, the guy who kind of jumps in the group chat every now and then?
Yeah, he's a good buddy.
Yeah. I watched his live stream when he fought him for the first time on his birthday. It took him 3 hours to beat that boss.
Ooh, well, that's not too bad, but ooh.
Yeah, he's a seasoned Mega Man veteran too, so yeah, that's I haven't fought that boss, that's why he's not ranked, but honorable mention to ZX Omega, because that's the Omega that we should have got in 03. But that's a boss that you remind me of, because he's a secret boss too. You have to go out your way and do a whole bunch of extra stuff to unlock him.
Now I understand. Well, glad I was able to bring that up with After Striker Gunvolt. Yeah, Yeah, that series, I just happened to pick it up by chance on my 3DS, and I was like, huh, this seems like an interesting game, man. I got hooked on it ever since.
Just saying, if you like Azure Gumball, there's a very high likelihood you like the Zero games as well.
Had to, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you actually got a point there, my friend.
Just saying, I find whenever you get a chance, you will not regret it.
Oh, I won't. Oh, I know I won't. That's really how you be hyping it. Well, you literally have the right to hype it up. So, you told me some good things.
Yeah, but those are your three?
Yeah, those are my three.
Well, this we do have a little note sheet here, so I'm just making sure we hit all the high points. Oh, I'll say it for you.
Mm-hmm.
DP, if you made this far in the video, congratulations. Thank you for watching to the end. However, now with everything that's been said, now whenever you're talking about when you're the Don's Triumph crying about, oh, why do these guys not know what they're doing? Oh, they keep dying. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
now you know you
yeah.
got in Rise when you kept jumping in Leroy Jenkins when you had running in naked. Well, not actually naked, but no armor. Oh, I just want to buff my weapon. My weapon does more damage, so let me just buff my weapon. No, DP,
Oh,
you need armor.
oh, yeah.
You are going to die. So yeah, now you know how we felt back in Rise. So yeah,
I still remember that one. I still remember that one time when we were fighting Zenogre, and he was coming back after he died against Zenogre, and then he died to a random monster leading up to Zenogre, and we're like, okay, you need to stay back before you ended up causing us to lose the whole quest for you.
Yeah, you literally banished him to the camp. You like, no, you sit here. You sit here. Me and Sailor will take care of it. You stay here in camp. Let's kill the monster.
Yeah. I didn't want to do that, but I had to. I had to say it. I was so mad that I had to say those words, because you know what those words are.
Yeah, we won't go into that now, but yeah.
Yeah, but yes, thank you for the lovely discussion and the reliving of trauma, Salos. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Glad I was able to come on.
Yeah. So on the by and by up on the screen, you will see Salos's iCard to his channel. So whenever you feel like popping in and seeing his incredible content, take a peek. He has some good stuff.
No, we don't do have a pedestal, but appreciate it.
Oh no, but you have earned your video style points. But oh no, that's about it, everybody. Stay safe and see y'all next time.
Plays Endless Zone Zero. It's a good game. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Bye.